We have this tension between predictability and adaptability. The more we try to lock things down, the harder it is to change. The easier we make it to change, the harder it is to lock things down.
This is a clip from Mike Kottmeyer's webinar series, Preparing for Agile Transformation.
Why is it so hard for people to understand and kind of mentally grok what we're trying to do with Agile? Why, right? And so I started thinking about the goals of the organization. And as Agilists, we tend to value adaptation. We tend to value change, right? We tend to value inspect and adapt and empower people and all this kind of stuff. But I had this moment of insight that I think was pretty powerful, is that the vast majority of organizations value predictability. Okay? And predictability can come in a lot of ways, but the way that it most often comes is we want the ability to make and meet commitments. Now, there's other ways that you can get predictability, like in leading Agile, like what I call it like revenue throughput. Like we want solid kind of revenue forecasts, and we want even flow of dollars, and we want to be able to hit our targets and things like that. Doesn't really matter what clients or what work we do for the clients or how we're orchestrating any given transformation or what the mix of work is, right? We want a certain volume of dollars at a certain level of profitability. That's like an ideal thing. Like we'd love to get clients to that, right? But most clients are pretty far from that, right? And so what you have to recognize is that most organizations, they don't value inspecting and adapting, right? Change and uncertainty is unsettling. They're uncomfortable with it. Right? What they value is predictability. And so when we go in and we say we want to introduce change, it creates a tremendous lack of safety. When you guys go into your organizations and say, hey, there's all these great benefits from Agile, you have to recognize that those benefits, while they sound great to you, and they probably are great for the organization, they sound really scary to a lot of the stakeholders. And so they want predictability, right? They want to be able to say, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to do it. They want to be able to call their shots like they would on a pool table, and they want to be able to run the table, put everything in the pocket they said they're going to, and get the outcome that they want, right? That's what they want. So this Agile stuff is really scary. But on the other side, right, the other side of that continuum is this idea of adaptability. Okay? And so adaptability is the home base for Agile. Okay. And what we want with adaptability is we want to be able to make smaller bets. We want to be able to put things in market and be able to get feedback from the customers from them. We want to be able to accept that feedback and pivot and change based upon what we learn, right? All that stuff is incredibly valuable. Okay. Again, scary to the people who want predictability, but can be incredibly valuable in market. Let me tell you, sometimes customers are scared by adaptability too. They would much rather have like a really predictable roadmap. A lot of them would have a really predictable roadmap, and to be able to just go, yep, this company they hit everything they say they're going to do. We understand when features are going to be out, right? This group can make and meet commitments. If you're starting to talk about publicly held companies, the idea of making product deliveries on time, right? All that kind of stuff, right? Sometimes customers don't want the adaptability, but we have a tension, right? So what we want to acknowledge is that there's a tension between predictability and adaptability. And a lot of times when I'm sitting in a room with executives and we're having this conversation, you ask the executives, you say, do you want the ability to make and meet commitments? Or do you want to be able to change your mind and be able to get what you want when you respond to new information? And what do you guys imagine the answer to that question is? The answer is yes. They want to be able to do both. Okay? And this is where we get into some really interesting kind of organizational dysfunction. Big annual planning cycles, big multi-room Gantt charts, right? Thousands of lines, heavy resource planning, right? All this kind of stuff. And then like as soon as something changes, right? All that stuff and all that planning is kind of out the door, right? So we would love to know what the next 12 months looks like. But the reality is we get 3 months in and everything kind of blows up. Right? So in an ideal world, we'd have the ability to make and meet commitments on a certain class of work and the ability to respond to change on a different class of work. So we have this tension between predictability and adaptability. The more we try to lock things down, the harder it is to change. The easier we make it to change, the harder it is to lock things down, right? And so those two things live in tension and they involve trade-offs.
Thanks for watching. Find out about upcoming events and content at leadingagile.com/events.